Hello there. We are going to talk about the comprehensive plan and just briefly a couple of the characteristics of the comprehensive plan. It could also be called a master plan, it could be called a general plan, but one of the characteristics is that physically it covers the entire community. It's not like a neighborhood plan, it's kind of a whole citywide plan, it's comprehensive. And another characteristic is that it covers a relatively long period of time. And what I mean by that is about 20 years. So most plans, you're about 20 years is the range to implement the goals. So just the goals of planning, of the comprehensive plan is what we're going to go over here briefly. So like I said, they're general plans, master plans, about 20 years, covers the entire community. But one of the goals is health, a concern with health, with public health. Um, this could be something like looking at the density of development and making sure that you're not going to overdevelop in an area where the sewer system's not large enough to keep up with it. Something along those lines. Or it could also mean something like separating industrial activities from places where people live. So it's like you don't want to build your nuclear power plant that's going to have contamination runoff right next to a place, right next to a school, or right next to a community, a residential area of town. So another goal would be public safety. This can kind of come about in different ways. I mean, sometimes this means like looking at flood maps and not building neighborhoods in floodplains. This could mean stuff like making sure there's enough police, fire, ambulance facilities to serve your community. Public safety could also mean something like planning your neighborhood, like the neighborhood level, so that children don't have to, let's say, walk across a really big busy intersection on their way to the school. Um, and it could also mean something like kind of planning your buildings so there's not all these like really dark corners for robberies to take place, something like that. So another goal would be circulation, and circulation just this means the flow of traffic. It also means the flow of people, pedestrians. So circulation means traffic flow, pedestrian flow. Um, this can mean it's interesting because with planning, this could also involve something like evacuation, like how to plan to evacuate during a disaster or ahead of a disaster. Or it could also mean something like just having wide enough streets or just kind of like for the daily, like the day to day getting around in a city. So yes, that's what circulation. Circulation in this case in urban planning means kind of traffic and pedestrian flows. So another goal would be the provision of services and facilities. So facilities, I mean, this is like the location of all your stuff that you want in your city. The location of your parks, your schools, your hospitals, community centers, all these kind of things. And it's not just that we want to have all of these ingredients in our cities. It's also like the pattern of where they're put, like the location of it is going to matter. So, like for example, the location of your school to your residences, that's going to determine if you have to take school buses or if the kids are going to walk to school, that kind of thing. So it's kind of like the provision of services and facilities means what type of services you're going to have in your community and where they're located. So another goal would be fiscal health. This one's a little bit more ambiguous. It's really just this idea that there's a relationship between how you use land and land values, like the money aspect of it, the economic aspect of it. So it's just kind of fiscal health means there's a relationship there between how you use land and the wealth of the community, really. So zoning, it's an ethical issue. Like if you're allowed to do fiscal zoning, which means you can set your rules, you can make your zoning rules so that your community is only like really expensive houses. So see how that's going to affect, there's an ethical issue in there because you can make zoning that keeps out low income housing. And we can talk more about this one in class if you guys want to. So kind of related, I know I just said fiscal health, but economic goals. This kind of has to do with the economic development planning in the sense that most communities want economic growth, right? Like that is a goal of cities is how are we going to grow economically? So this could be something like making it so your city is good for businesses. Really, it's that kind of thing. It's really this idea of kind of like economic growth. Um, Another goal is environmental concerns. No, there's no picture for you to look at. Oh well. Environmental concerns. This is just this idea that you have to do these environmental impact statements before you develop something. This is something that came about in like the 60s. It's the idea of maybe you don't develop on wetlands. It's stuff about are you going to build a manufacturing plant that causes air pollution. I mean, these environmental concerns are just questions that are going to be asked during the planning process now. And just the last one, quickly, is a redistributive goal. This is more of like a politically liberal left way of thinking about planning. It could be a goal, it's a goal of some planners where you want to redistribute wealth, like and influence in the political process. So really, it's this idea that we don't want the rich to keep all the money. We want to more redistribute that in a more equitable way around our community. So that's it. Those are your goals in planning.